is Danny Morris out to the 25-yard line. And some guys are fired up for the wonder. Scott Beaver, number 22, the first man down there on the coverage.
Well, he was, and got down there awfully quick, and we never got a wall for him that time, Randy.
Speaking of Beavers, number 11, Andrew. This is Danny Morris out to the 25-yard line. And some guys are fired up for the wonder. Scott Beaver, number 22, the first man down there on the coverage.
Well, he was, and got down there awfully quick, and we never got a wall for him that time, Randy.
Speaking of Beavers, number 11, Andrew Beaver, the junior quarterback, will lead the Raiders out on offense. He'll be joined in the backfield by Jeff Wilkerson. Veteran starter at tailback. He's the senior wearing number 22, and they'll set it out of the eye this time with one line to the top of your screen. Wonders at that familiar 5-2 defensive scheme. And the give will go to Wilkerson around the left side. He's got one tackle broken and out to the 32-yard line before he is really covered that time.
Well, he was, and I don't think that play was designed to go actually where it ended up, Randy, but he had enough quickness to get outside, and right there at the very end, South shifted a little bit, and they were almost unbalanced on that side a little bit.
I'm sure South Rowan and Larry Gill and his coaching staff will take 7 yards on first down all night long.
Oh, I'm sure they like that play right there.
They need the 35 to pick up the first on second. And they'll block the tight end to the right side this time. Slot on the right out of the eye. And we've got motion apparently on the line. They'll call this one back.
Now, by flipping in like that, Randy, the tight end's not eligible for a pass now. He's covered up by the split end on the outside, so you know they're not going to throw to him.
And preliminary indication against the Wonders. What the penalty is they sorted out. Talking to the Raiders. That's a big young man, number 79. You saw in your picture, Eddie Finger. He's a senior. He's 6 foot and 280 pounds, an offensive tackle, and I think he can move some folks out of the way.
Well, he can, and they have, South's got pretty good size across that front.
Sean Clark, 75, the other offensive tackle, 250 and 6 foot. So he's got the ends anchored.
Well, he does. They can hunker down in there pretty good, Randy.
First and 10 for the Raiders at their own 38-yard line. And a long count for Beaver. They'll misdirection left side, and Wilkerson's got a little bit of daylight out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. And everybody going the wrong direction.
Well, they did. They went back to the short side of the field on that, and I tell you what, right now their execution and they're really coming off football well.
Coach Steele and his staff got to be pleased with the Raiders' offensive machine, so to speak, so far.
They do, and Wilkerson showing a lot of quickness right there at that tailback position.
And a temporary hold up of the line of scrimmage, which is the 43-yard line. You'll see it throughout the night in our shots. The newly installed clocks, the 25-second clock. It might be one of the very few in the nation that have that luxury, but it's got to be an asset for the opposing quarterback or the home.
I would think that's nice to be able to keep up with what, especially if you get late in the game and want to run out the clock a little bit.
Second down and 5. For the South Rowan Raiders. Beaver with a long count will toss this time. Wilkerson right side. Got some white shirts in front. He's got the first down, and he's down the sidelines. Pumped out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Well, they were setting it up, and here they come back to the wide side of the field that time.
Well, they do, and for whatever reason, they must feel like they can go outside a little bit. That was just a toss sweep right there, and if we want to, we can call what they're doing unbalanced. They're covering their tight end up where he's not eligible for a pass, and they're running to that side.
34-yard run from scrimmage for Wilkerson. He'll go out for a breather with 9:44 to go in the opening period, opening drive of the game, and the Raiders will set up first and 10 at the 23.
I think that Kannapolis has timed the timeout right now. Mike Lambert, the defensive coordinator, out to make some adjustments in the defense. This may be something that they haven't seen from South early in the year, and they're not adjusting to it right now, Randy.
We will be back. Stop the Raiders. That is not what is happening right now. It may be the other way around. The Raiders are certainly taking control of this ball game early here, less than 3 minutes in. They've got it first and 10 at the Wonder 23-yard line.
Okay, you saw Kannapolis defense shift a little bit that time. South trying to come back to the short side, Randy.
Looked to be possibly a mix-up, and Kyle Seckler, the sophomore fullback, lucky to get control of the football as he dashed into the line.
Well, it looks like whatever Mike Lambert told him worked right there.
Actually, they give us forward progress to the 22, so a pickup of 1. It's second down and 9. Raiders will send one wide to the top of your screen. Out of that power eye, very familiar formation for Maryville coached South Rowan teams. They'll flop Jones, the tight end, left side, lining up this time, 96. And Beaver comes down and elected to keep it and got back maybe to the line of scrimmage, turning things in for the Wonders.
Well, that was the first option look that we've seen out of him, and I think he was going to come down and try to option the football, and like you said, chose to keep it. And really no gain out of that. We're going to see what they're thinking in their passing game. What do we call it? Intermediate passing game? We're going to see where that's at right now.
Number 71, Lanny Gray, credit for turning that play into the pursuit on third down and 8. Ball just inside the 22-yard line. 8.5 to go, opening period. Raiders split the wideouts this time. And Beaver using all the time. Really no excuse for that time.
Well, he used it all every second of it.
He can't say he didn't know how much time. The clock was staring him right in the eye, but, you know, your first game of the season, you're still going to have those all kinds of crazy things.
Well, you can figure that's going to happen. Plus the fact that they're shifting their formation, and that takes a little bit of time, and a new quarterback in there. So we're going to see those things happen.
Move it back to the 27-yard line, so third and 13. Oh, the key plays early in this ball game coming up right now for the Raiders. They'll move Morris, the flanker, in motion, and Beaver with a play fake, rolls, pumps upfield, got a receiver, it is complete. It's going to be short of the first down at the 15-yard line.
What's going to happen right there, Randy, is it's going to be about as short as the penalty. If it hadn't been for the penalty, this would be a first down right now.
Well, the Raiders are now faced with fourth down and about 2, a long 2, we may add. And they're going to take a timeout and talk things over here with 7 minutes, 46 seconds to go. Opening period, no score for the Raiders, faced with a big decision. Decided, let's go for it. Fourth and a long 2 at the 15, the Wonders.
Don't be surprised if we don't see the pitch to the left side here.
Wilkerson and Seckler, and now we've got a flag.
I think it's going against Kannapolis here, Randy.
Very as big as that penalty against South was a few minutes ago. This one even bigger against the Wonders, and it'll give them the first down. As a matter of fact, it will be first down, and they can still get a first down.
Well, I was going to say, the ball where it's at, they'll have to get all the way to the goal line and some, but they can still get one, I think.
Just outside the 10-yard line. 7:46 to go. Opening period, opening drive. Raiders have looked sharp on offense.
Well, I'll tell you, Jones is a good-sized tight end right there, and they're shifting him. I think we'll still see him pitch to the left here.
Here comes Wilkerson looking to turn the corner. 10-5. He'll score.
He's going to come back. There was a penalty in there, Randy, and it may be holding.
No wonder that looks so good. So they will sort that out. And here's a preliminary indication. Larry Mason is 1 for 1 tonight.
That's the last one I'm going to call.
That one was even bigger.
They took the touchdown away. When you start taking points off, they loom large.
And they will step it off back to the 17-yard line, and what's worse, with that type of penalty, it may stick you back out of field goal range, so you may come away with no points at all, depending.
Well, I tell you, Frank and Danny Morris did a good job right there getting out on the block, but I think he got those hands up and had to hold in there just a little bit.
Number 45, John Balls, is checked in at the fullback position for the Raiders. Pretty good size blocking black, 5'11", 165 pounds, but he's just built right. Not big, but he's just built right. He looks like a blocking back, doesn't he? At the 17-yard line, first down. And again, will go to Boss, but he's going nowhere. Center of the Wonder defensive line stacking him up. Leading the way, Scott Belcher. He's only a sophomore. He's the nose guard.
They did, and they were trapping inside right there. South have been famous, I think, over the years for the fullback trapping there, and they were looking at it. I felt like that'd be a good down to throw the football on.
Actually, they're going to say he lost about a yard. So at the 18 is where they'll mark it. It's second down coming up.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him come back and throw the ball here.
Ryan Russell is split to the bottom of your screen as they flop Jones to the right side. And here is Beaver hit. Lucky to hold on to the football as the Wonder pursuit. No time for execution.
Not there, and if you're going to run the option, I'll tell you, you have to seal off right there, and you can't get that penetration in, and Kannapolis did a super job of penetrating and destroying that play.
Just simply won it on the line of scrimmage, didn't they?
They sure did.
You got Eves and Belcher and Jones, Beaver, and they're going to try to run away from Rowan Grant in that defensive end position as much as possible. He was the third leading tackler on that Wonder defense from last season. Third down now. The White Raiders are moving the wrong way at the 23-yard line. Beaver is hit. Punished. First. 74 for the Wonders, and that is Richard Greer. And believe it or not, he didn't start.
Well, I tell you what, he didn't stop right there. I don't think anybody slowed him down at all on this rush.
It will be Denny in, and he's a place kicker. Let's see, they're going to attempt the field goal. Looks like it'll be on the left hash mark. They'll spot it at the 35-yard line. This will be quite some distance. We'll see what range Finney has. A 45-yard attempt. Good snap, and it is partially blocked. Coming through the line and just giving his body up was Barry Lipscomb, number 23. And I don't know if you can say the Wonders dodged a bullet. I think they earned that defensive stand. The big penalty called the touchdown back, and then the Wonders maybe, it looks like they got their second win and just...
Well, they did, and South kept moving. Now, Randy, one thing I think we failed to notice ourselves is the ball's going to be down on about the 4-yard line right here. That's a live ball, and it didn't get into the end zone. It could have been picked up and run back.
Now they're going to move it back to the 3.
So they didn't come out any. Well, certainly it would have been a good punt, but I think the worst thing is they lost points here.
Battle for field position, and the Wonder offense, their first snap of the 1990 season, is going to be delayed as Maurice Blakeney, the senior quarterback, calls a timeout.
Well, they didn't have 11 men on the field.
And we will step away with 5:34 to go, opening period. 100 yards last year and 19 touchdowns. That counts the playoffs as well. Maurice Blakeney leads him out from the 3-yard line.
What do you think? We're going long here.
That wouldn't be a bad one to start off with. Here's Blakeney coming down. He's going to be turned in. No gain. Trent Bradshaw, 89, defensive end, was one of the first white shirts Tricky had to meet him.
Well, he was. He faked the ball in there to Carter, and then decided to keep it himself, bringing it outside. If tradition holds for him, though, Randy, I think we'll see him put the ball up long here.
Well, no gain officially. 2nd and 10 coming up as the Wonders led by the new center, Ken Clowney, number 51, the junior, replacing the graduated Chad Blackwater, who was a fixture at that spot for 3 years. And they'll go to the tailback this time, and getting a little room out across the 5 to about the 7, possibly the 8-yard line. Number 28, and Coach Harden, he starts Barnes and Carter, but you're going to see a lot of men in there, and that is Billy Elder, the 6-foot senior, 174-pounder, good-sized running back.
Well, he is. I think you're going to have to keep up with this lineup tonight, Randy, because with the humidity in there, we're probably going to see a lot of bodies in and out. And Coach Harden right there went back to more traditional eye, and now he's going back to his one-back offense again.
Well, possible. Well, 3rd and 4, you can throw. Most likely he will here with this setup. Well, it shows you how much I know. Here's Michael Barnes breaking a tackle, and he's got the first down and then some. 3 Raiders finally bring him down at the 23. Well, we saw greatness in that then sophomore last year during the playoffs. He was just the backbreaker on some defenses. You run Lipscomb 20 times a game, and here Barnes comes in, new legs, and he really
Well, I tell you, they trapped to that side and pulled either the tackle or guard. I didn't catch which one from the right-hand side and brought him across. But, hey, that was just a tough run right there.
Barnes over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns last year in a part-time starting role.
Well, he's certainly going to make a name for himself if he keeps running the football like that.
At the 23-yard line, 3:58 to go. Now they'll wind the clock. First period, no score. First possession of the game for the Wonders, who started at their own 3. Whitney with a single setback. Getting some heat. Now he's over the middle. It's tipped and then almost intercepted and then almost complete. He was trying to hit Billy Elder.
Well, everybody had a chance. He had good pass protection right there and set the ball out there. Really probably should have been intercepted.
Well, we were playing hot potato. We had an HO right there on that one, didn't we?
Well, you heard of the tip drill. Well, he got tipped every which way but loose then.
Pretty exciting incompleted pass, wasn't it?
Well, there's one thing you know that Knapp's going to do, and it puts a lot of pressure on your defensive backs if you're coaching against them. Sooner or later, the ball's going up.
And Maurice hung in there. He had some heat coming at him. Second and 10, 23-yard line for the Wonders. Blakeney, good protection this time over the middle, and that one nobody home. I think number 35, that was Mark Carter, the tight end. They were trying to hit him, and he may have got held up at the line of scrimmage.
It looks like he did. I think he didn't get there at the time, you know, that Blakeney thought he was going to.
Well, Mo's got the Darth Vader version of the windshield in there. I wonder if they can change those as fast as they can in NASCAR racing.
But they probably clean them over there. I don't know if they can change it. You got to put tape on that. Get the squeegee out.
You don't want to have any aerodynamics. I don't know what it would be with the visor there. Third and 10 for the Wonders now. Limited passing situation. Blakeney pops a couple times. Now he goes short side. It's a little bit underthrown. Trying to hit, once again, number 28, Billy Elder. And Blakeney will stay in to punt it away.
It was really going to be set up as a screen pass, Randy, as Elder just kind of hesitated in there. The ball a little bit underthrown.
Deep back for South Rowan, Danny Morris standing back at the Raider 40-yard line. Now he backpedals to about the 37. Blakeney averaging over 30 yards of punt for the 89 season. Will get it away at about his own 20. Good protection. He'll kick it away from Morris. It hits in midfield. Morris has it scooped through his fingers, and then the mad dash is on. Morris went back and got it. That was almost our first turnover or big break in the game.
Well, that would have been a big one right there, and Morris was lucky to get back and fall on the football. He did the good thing there is he just fell on it and didn't try to pick the ball back up.
The Raiders will get decent field position to start with at their own 35-yard line with 3:18 left, opening period. And the TV13 football game of the week, the opening telecast of the 1990 season. Out of the eye, slot back on the right, or the flanker, I should say. That is Morris, and he'll go in motion. They'll give this time. Well, they don't. Beaver keeps it, and there may be a loose football.
It did come loose, Randy, and they went back to the short side of the field, running option, and I believe Kannapolis has recovered the fumble.
It wasn't up for grabs long. It was a green shirt. Got it.
Well, he was holding the ball out to pitch the ball, and it just got jarred out of his hands right there.
So the Wonders now with good field position. Their best field position of the night as the defense, which came together in stages last year, is on the plus side of the turnover ratio here early. +1. Their offense will start at the 39 of South.
Well, it certainly gives them good field position. I think we'll see the ball handed to the tailback right here. Nope.
Well, Blakeney's going to run for his life now, and we'll crank it up. He's got a receiver open, end zone, touchdown! Marlon Hall. Beautiful pattern, and the defender, I just don't think ever saw the football. What a pass by Maurice Blakeney, and a good catch on the finishing end by Marlon Hall, the 5'10", 147-pound junior.
39-yard pass play right there, Randy. He just got behind the defenders, and like you said, they didn't get back, and Blakeney we've seen him all season last year be able to throw that pass.
Well, we'll watch it again, and there's our first big play of the season. After the extra point, Ben Johnson in to attempt it. He's wearing a different number this year. He moved down one. He was at number 10 last year. Or maybe he's moving up. He's number 9. Wonders with only 10 men on the field as Johnson kicks it up, and it is good by the penalty marker.
Well, they're going to have to bring that back and kick it again 5 yards deeper now.
Well, that's one of those first game mistakes as well.
Yes.
I tell you, he had about 8 yards to get in position there. Didn't quite make it.
Here we go with the replay on this, Randy, on the pass play.
He's all... Look at the pursuit against Blakeney. It just set everybody up there. 4 guys around him. And that last little hitch by Hall was what got him open.
Yeah, and I tell you the thing that makes Blakeney so tough is he gets out there, he's got the athletic ability to elude the defenders and then stop and throw it.
Now Johnson's going to have what is equivalent to about a 25-yard field goal attempt here with the extra point. Good snap. The spot is up. Johnson's kick is in the air, and it is true. Right through the heart with 2:21 to go. First period. Wonders break out on top by 7. Stadium and lightning has struck here in August. Not in the way of a thunderstorm, in the way of a wonder passing game. It doesn't look like it's missed a beat since December, does it?
Well, it surely doesn't. And I tell you, the thing we're going to find out now is can South bounce back from this. They had their own good offensive drive going there in the first part of the game, and the touchdown taken away.
That feels had an early frost too, looks like. Johnson, kind of a soccer squibber there. Tough to feel, and the Raiders will bring it to the 29-yard line. As number 10, Morris, Danny, the 145-pound senior, will stay in at the flanker position. So the Raiders having the best chance, you would think, controlling the entire first quarter, or the majority of it. Now what happens? Maybe that's their best defense. Keep that wonder offense off the field.
Well, it is. You know that's the best defense you can have is not let the other team have the football, and they did a good job of it there for the biggest part of this quarter.
And the 28-yard line is where they'll spot it. Jones flops to the right side, out of the eye, one receiver to the bottom of your screen. And Wilkerson will go to the big side of the field. He's being chased. Penalty marker is down. He is down at the 32. Marker was dropped on the other side of the field. As we go inside, 1:42 left, first period. Holding is going to be the call against South. And the major penalties, those 2 holding calls, that's kind of taking wind out of this.
Well, it really has. And then I think what South's trying to do, you know, is take the football, and they've got a lot of faith in their tailback there, as quick as he is, Wilkerson, and trying to get the ball outside on this defense. But those holding calls, you know, they're major penalties and hurt you quite a bit.
With the penalty, the ball will be spotted at the 21-yard line of South. Raiders faced with first down and 17. They need to get just over the 37-yard line. Here's a shot on the line. Both these teams have given none and taken none here early in this season. Beaver lofts it down the sideline, got everybody behind the defense, and he was out of bounds. He had to wait on the pass. Danny Morris had everybody beat. Somebody missed an assignment deep, and had he stayed in bounds and the ball would have been a little bit longer, they'd have had a touchdown.
Well, they would have, and I tell you what, he did. I think somebody did blow an assignment right there on defense because he was wide open, and if he could have kept the ball in bounds, we would have seen how much wind he had to get to the end zone, Randy.
That would have been the topper to a 79-yard touchdown pass in South's version. It's all ball back at 2nd and 17 at the 21. 1:12 left, opening period. Beaver on the delay. Wilkerson will cut it to the near side. He got a yard wrapped up from behind that time by number 52, Hut Smith, the 6'1 junior.
It was more of a sprint draw, I think, than it was just setting up for a draw right there, but Kannapolis swarmed on that one pretty quickly.
I know Hut hears all the, probably all the kidding about Hut's a great football player name, isn't it?
Oh, we've lost some great football players' names, haven't we?
Hut's a pretty good baseball player. I remember when I was 6 years old, he was better than I was.
I'm not even going to comment on that. I'm going to let that one go by.
He was only about 3 foot tall, so I mean, you had a better fastball than I ever had.
Raiders at a low strike zone, though.
30 ticks left in the first period. Wanderers up by 7 as the Raiders have called a timeout, so we'll keep it right here. I want to remind you, next Wednesday night here on TV 13 at 8 o'clock, we will be live in the studios as we'll dip into the South Piedmont Conference for a look at the, what is hoping Henry Thompson says, the vastly improved 90 version of the Mount Pleasant Tigers, as they'll be taking on South Stanley in a very early South Rocky River Conference game. And you know, the number of teams in the Rocky River this year, they don't have many chances for non-conference teams. You got like, what, 10 teams?
No, and when you play in that conference, you wish you could play some non-conference games instead of having to line up against Catholic. And I feel sorry for Catholic this year. They said they're down a little bit. Their recruiting year wasn't quite as good as it's been in the past. And
they may have run out of hoods, I believe.
They did.
They had Boo and B and R and G. 3rd and 16 for the Raiders at their own 22-yard line. Favors spinning. He keeps it, cuts it upfield, breaks one tackle, but goes to the 25, and the Wanderers contained him quite well that time. See who gets up off the bottom of the pile. That is number 30. That man is Carter. No, Fred. You got Fred. You got Mark. You got James this year on the Wander roster. I think Coach Harden says, these Carters can play. I'm going to get them all.
I'll tell you what, I believe you. I wonder if there's any left in school that's not playing.
Because that ball tipped, they very nearly had a disaster for the Wanderers on the kickoff. Had he touched it, that would have been a live ball, but the Raiders were down it instead at the 44-yard line of Kannapolis as the first period has expired. The 39-yard touchdown pass by Blakeney to Hall. The difference in this one, 7-0. Wanderers on top. Didn't have to go far when the ball's near the midfield mark.
Oh, you don't have to move it. You can keep up with it that way.
Well, I want to say, once again, the grounds crew has done an exceptional job during the long summer months, and this field is about as good a condition as it will be all year.
I'll tell you what, it really does look good.
Here is Blakeney, straight drop, getting all the protection he wants, and now he'll air it outside. Lines count, man, complete. 35, 30, 22-yard line. Billy Elder knocked out of bounds. He finally got him. He'd been going to him a lot. And a beautiful pass when it worked.
Well, it was, and Elder did a great job of getting in the seam right there, and Blakeney did a really super job of finding him right there.
They'll give his progress to the 20-yard line, and Air Wonders, here we come.
Well, I tell you what, it doesn't look like they're going to be afraid to throw the football.
Wanderers have got the lead, got a little confidence as well as Uncle Mo on their side here as we're 11 and a half minutes away from halftime. Carter bounces off the line, and he will take it to the 1-yard line. Fred is so tough to bring down. He's 198 pounds and a senior, and he knows where the goal line is.
That was just a great run right there. Isolation with the one back offense in there, and when Carter hit, he was initially stopped, came off of it, and it was, catch him before he gets to the end zone.
He was kind of hid there for a minute.
Well, he did. I'll tell you, he does a super job right there. He's really consistent.
So his knee went down at the 2 and 18-yard gallop that time by Fred Carter. First and goal, Wanderers at the 2 out of the I formation. Carter, second effort, got him to about the 1. So second down and goal coming up. 10:48 left first half.
I think they gave the ball right there to Elder, Randy, as he tried to take it in behind Carter.
Making first game mistakes too. Michael Barnes checked in. He's the tailback now. Coach Harden has shuffled in a lot of folks. Barnes leaps the line, and he will score. He tried to climb the ladder, and he said, well, I don't need but two steps. And,
well, I tell you, when it gets down that close, it's just a matter of who wants it the most right there. Barnes is a tough runner. I mean, he just took that thing over the top right there.
The Wanderers have scored with the run, but the pass set it up. And they're up 13-0 with 10:23 left in the opening half. 4 plays, 56 yards. Capped off by the 1-yard touchdown punch by Michael Barnes. and a 36-yard pass that set it up.
Well, you know, it puts South behind the 8 ball right now. They're going to be playing catch-up football, and that's going to take a little pressure off of the Kannapolis defense. With South having to do that, they can play a little looser than they have been.
Well, the thing about it is the Raiders have no reason to get down. They looked impressive in the opening drive. Take away the holding call, and they'd have 7 points.
Well, they did. They were really sharp, and we're going to see if they can come back and regain that.
Out of the hold of Blakeney, Johnson boots it through. It's 14-0. 10:23 to go. Back with the Wonder kickoff after you watch this. Overflow is maybe a better word. Your typical crowd for the 24th of August, 25th of August.
Well, I think so. They brought the blankets out, and they've got the chicken on the bank over there, Randy.
Thank goodness it didn't rain us out here. It's about a 30% chance of a shower. We may get one before the evening's over, but the humidity is maybe going to be a factor in this game later. Kick relatively short at the 16-yard line. Raiders will move it out to about the 26.
Well, you know, we talked about the kicking game early in the broadcast here. One thing is Kannapolis getting a lot of practice on the kickoff right now, and South's getting more practice than they want on receiving the kickoff. They need to get something going on offense. Of course, I think it would really be a big boost for them to put one on board before the half.
Well, South has only went to the air one time. They completed that, but let's see if they... Certainly, you don't abandon your game plan. We got a lot of time to go.
Well, sure we do.
14 points, not insurmountable by any means, and we've seen crazier things happen in this type of game, in this series especially. Here's the pitch. Wilkerson, right side, will get a little room out to about the 28-yard line.
You know, they keep working outside with him, and Kannapolis has adjusted their defense. Of course, they're in their 5 front that Mike Lamb has been in for years and does such a good job coordinating it. I think what we're going to see is, I'm just wondering if Larry Deal's setting them up, and then going to start coming back inside some.
Well, Tom Harper, the offensive coordinator, probably has got something back in his mind. Bars in motion. Here's Beaver. Hit. Looked like they were trying to pitch, but Scotty just Andrew nowhere to go.
Well, you know, they've tried the option a few times tonight, and they have not been able. The reason they hadn't been successful, one of them, is the penetration right there at the line of scrimmage. He hadn't been able to, he's taken 2 steps and he's hit. So he really doesn't have a decision to make. There's no decision to make who he's going to pitch the football off of because he hasn't had time.
8:44 left, first half. 3rd down and 8 for the Raiders at their own 28-yard line. Beaver, play fake, looks, and it's going to be picked off, and this one may come back all the way. 15-10, he's finally tripped up from behind. Gary Brown, the strong safety, saw it all the way, and knew what to do with it once he picked it off.
Well, I picked him up just as soon as I saw the ball, and he just sat and waited until the ball was thrown and went to the football. Hey, just like he's been coached.
He better say that. Right? Wonder is now threatening to really get a pretty big cushion here as we've got 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go before the break. They've got it 1st and goal at the Raider 8-yard line. Big plays, and Bruce Harden, you see him on the sideline, says, I don't like what I saw there when you broke the huddle. He'll call a timeout. 8:09 to go before halftime. We will return in just a minute. Kannapolis break the huddle. Whatever Coach Harden wanted to talk about, he's had his say, and we'll see what Blakeney and company will execute.
I'm sure. Right, and South in the goal line defense right here.
Here's Blakeney. Handing off, they'll run it basically up the gut. Sounds like a cliche. It is. Down to the 5-yard line.
Well, that's like you say. Give it to the back and get behind the lineman. You practice that every day in practice, and then you try to establish your new line of scrimmage up the field a couple of yards and get something out of it.
Well, they wormed for an extra yard. Down to the 4 is where they'll spot it. 2nd and goal coming up for the Wonders. Michael Barnes, along with Carter, in the backfield. They'll split the backs this time. And it will be Carter, hit at the line and goes close to the goal line. I don't think he got in. He's about as close as you can get.
Well, I think he bounced in, but I think he bounced before he got there, Randy. One too many bounces.
It will be third and...
I tell you, Carter's tough. I mean, when you need the short yardage in there, he's tough to get the football to.
Everybody's talking about the passing attack. They're going to forget about Fred Carter this year, but you better worry about it.
Well, I think that's what the Coach Harding and Light Farm do. Forget about him, because as soon as they do, he's going to give it to him.
Third down and goal, about 2 feet away. Blakeney will keep it on the bootleg. Set him up, run, and then Blakeney with perfect execution. And give the offensive line credit. He was untouched.
Well, Blakeney's quite an athlete, you know, as far as running the football and that. He could do a lot more of it than Coach Harding has him do, actually.
20-0 as we watch the touchdown run again. Coming up here after the extra point. This will be...
Well, there he is. He just drew everybody inside and kept it himself and took it outside, and there wasn't anybody there.
Blakeney to hole. Ben Johnson kicks it up and through. 6:52 left before halftime. 21-0. Kind of a surprise. We'll be back. No wonder cheerleaders had plenty to cheer about here. 21 points on the board. Still a long way to go. As we said, over half the second quarter to go.
Well, there is.
And a whole second half yet to play.
And one thing, South, you know, nobody wants to get behind this much by this many points this early.
Wilkinson and Ryan are the deep backs, and Johnson will kick it short and out of bounds. It'll trickle out at about the 22-yard line, and they'll have to re-kick.
And I think, you know, the thing here is, like you say, Coach Deal and his group, there's no need to go away from the game plan and panic now. I think you have to start doing what you do best and go back to it and try to chip away at this lead and play good defense and hope you get a few breaks.
I wouldn't have thought 21 points by either team would be on the board here in only a quarter and a half of action, but big plays will get you points in a hurry, but they also get you back in games in a hurry.
Well, they do. They really do. And Kannapolis, you know, they're a big play offense, but their defense has come up with a couple of them tonight also.
And Johnson will kick it this time with the 35. End over ender. This will be Ryan at the 20-yard line. Raiders will shoot. Well, they got pretty good field position. The Wonder King team had a little bit about to say as how good a field position is Steve McKnight, the 6-foot junior, 184-pounder, was down there.
Well, I tell you, he's got some youngsters on his kickoff team that enjoy getting down the field and hitting people. I mean, they just enjoy sprinting down there, and you can tell they take a lot of pride in just getting down there and hitting people.
Maybe
name of the game.
They got to, grab all the gusto you get. You may not get to be on the kick team much, so you got limited time out there. Try to impress some of those coaches.
You always want to find 11 kids that don't mind going out and sticking somebody.
Kind of like Pete Wysocki of years ago, right? Oh, a little bit of a tanglement, and Beaver escapes, literally, out to the 33-yard line.
Well, I tell you, he did a good job of making anything out of that play because it totally broke down, and he got about 4 yards out of it.
2nd and 6 coming up for the Raiders with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Andrew Christie under fire. Good JV squad last year. Both these teams were 7 and 3, respective schools. But Beaver got to be big butterflies in your stomach coming into your first varsity game against your arch rival on their home field. So Andrew's done a credible job tonight. The handoff, maybe a yard, possibly 2 that time as they keep it on the ground. That is Boss, number 45. John, as we said, only 165 pounds, but he looks a little bit bigger than that.
Well, he's built low to the ground. He's like you said, he does look good size.
Maybe he has the Porsche body of a 165-pounder. Raiders have a 3rd down and 5 coming up at the 34. And equipment timeout right now. I didn't really think to check before the game, but I'm sure with the humidity and this early in the season. I'm sure the officials maybe allow for a little bit more water breaks or timeouts during the game here.
Well, they probably have, but so far they haven't really just called any water break timeouts as they missed that pass right there. Was overthrown.
Little slant that time, trying to hit Jimmy Earnhardt.
But it wasn't terrible down on the field where we were. The humidity's high, but the temperature wasn't as bad as it, might have been.
Maybe we need to call some extra timeouts here in the booth. A little bit more humid when you're inside.
I'm glad we don't have to go up and down those steps too much. I've even tried to get in shape this summer for this, and it was still tough.
Yeah, you lost another 20 pounds here tonight. End over end kick angling to the sidelines. It hits and takes a Raider roll and will go dead at the Wonder 37-yard line. So that's the best way to negate a huge return, is not have one at all. But Kannapolis has good field position, and they've still got 4:52 to go to try to tack on some more. They're up 21-0.
And one thing that we learned last year was that Coach Hardin doesn't sit on football. He plays offense to score. And it's not a matter of him trying to run the score up on anybody. If he's got the football, then he's going to try to score.
16, there you see Gibson. That is Fred. He's a senior, 150-pound split end ball. To the near bottom of your screen, 2 wide to the top and 1 single setback out of that pro set. They'll give it to Carter, and he busts out to the 43-yard line. A quick 5.
Tell you, they may be content just to grind this out here and end the quarter. South in their 5 defense there. Also, they've stopped the ball fairly well on the ground. It's been the big play that's burned them, though.
Well, you get a defense lull to sleep, or just a combination of both, and get them off balance. And South's giving up, like you said, the big play tonight. Second and a long 4 or 5. And the pitch, Barnes, short side. Puts the shoulder down, and he's going to be near the first down marker.
Another thing that having the score like this, as far as Coach Harding's concerned, is I'm sure there'll be some things that maybe he can look at now that he wouldn't have been if it was in a close ball game right now. Some plays he may have wanted to run that he didn't know he was going to have time. He told us the other night he had, something over 30 different formations. Of course, that doesn't mean he's got that many plays. You can run the same play out of a lot of different formations, and I assume that's what he does.
I'm going to bring the 6 across from the other side of the field.
And what did he tell us this offense was called? The oboe. The oboe offense.
You can explain that one.
I don't know. When we asked him what he called it, he explained to us it was just he felt like he didn't have a name for it when he was at West Charlotte, so he decided to call it the oboe offense.
Oboe.
Oboe, right?
I thought that was a musical instrument. Well, it's certainly in harmony tonight.
Well, it does. He plays the right tune on it. It works real well, doesn't it?
That's what I meant to say. Oh, we may have our first clipping penalty of the year as the official there. I think he's okay. That chain may be broke now. They got a 9-yard chain. They better measure that first down again now. Even the chain gang guys are having first game jitters, aren't they? Well, they show that experienced poise, and they're back on their respective places on the far sideline, ready for some action.
Get away from that chain, goal is going to give me.
3rd and short. It will be. They need to go about half a yard. Ball at the 47-yard line. 3:31 left before halftime. There's Mo Blakeney, the 160-pound, 5'10" senior quarterback for the Wonders. He'll keep it. He's got the first down and a little bit of surplus as he goes inside Raider territory at the 49-yard line.
He does, and like I say, it looks like Kannapolis may be content to keep it on the ground here and try to run out the clock right here.
Well, still a lot of time to go. You can do a lot of things at 3 minutes, 10-plus seconds.
Well, you could, and the thing South may want to do, and it looked like they were sending their linebackers there a little bit, is, try some different things on defense and try to create and make something happen and try to get football.
Wonders will come to the line of scrimmage with split backs this time and 2 wide. Blakeney comes straight back and fires it on his back foot. We've got the battle down the sidelines, but no harm, no foul.
Randy, that was just a heck of a throw right there. He was throwing it off his back foot, falling backwards, and it was all arm. There wasn't any body in that one. He's just got a heck of an arm.
There you see number 33 for the Wonders, Scott Jordan, and he was duking it out with Brian Connor, the Raider corner. And it's second down. If he had all the time in the world, no rush, I don't know if Mo could throw the ball.
That'd be unusual, you know. What is this?
Yeah, don't know how to act there. That goes short side this time, and a little room that time, and a late penalty marker. As number 28, Elder.
Where that was thrown, it could be holding and come back right here, Randy.
Elder got about 8 yards out of
Got a
that
clip
there.
on it.
That'll come back.
They ran a little trap right that time to the right side. Kannapolis backs all run hard.
So that'll nullify a nice gain by Billy Elder. It'll move it all the way back inside Wonder territory through a 41-yard line and bring up second down and a bunch. They're going to be second and 20 coming up with 2.5 minutes to go before halftime. Stay tuned. We've got two great bands coming up for you. Plus, we'll take a look at those probably misleading first half stats. South may have more rushing yardage than the Wonders.
Well, yeah, probably so.
Here's Blakeney. Looks like a snake going backwards. He got out of a tackle, 35, 40, 43-yard line. That's a heck of a way to gain 2 yards, isn't it? But
Well, I'll tell you what, he's shifty.
I say it's pretty. Blakeney's going to see this and say, I don't think it was pretty. I had 8 guys shooting at me.
Like having to catch a water bug right there.
That man has got better speed backwards than a lot of folks have forwards.
Right. And there was almost a spear attacked on the end of that right there. If a referee had been there, they may have called that right there on number 30.
Ball is at the 43 of Kannapolis. 3rd and 17 with now 90 ticks left in the first half. Wonders in command 21-0.
We're going to see how far he can throw the football right here.
Well, he drops it and getting some backside pressure, and he'll go down. As Trent Bradshaw, the senior defensive end, was not going to be denied that time, and a penalty marker late on the opposite side of the field. Scrimmage. And they will sort that one out. And here comes the signal. The illegal procedure obviously will be declined by the Raiders. It'll bring up 4th down. South with 79 ticks left, and depending on the field position they get off this punt, will have a shot, maybe, to moving it down and get
Well, they will,
something.
and Crows, the best thing that can happen to them right now is get something on the board right here.
Well, that's our first visit this year to, we may add, a sold-out Plumber's Purchase.
I know, I'll tell you what, they've got the sign lit up over there, and they look good.
I think they've expanded since last
Well, they
season.
may have, you know, the school may have given them some money with all that money they made this year, Randy. Is that a new sign, or is that one that we have, you know, gets around Christmas time, they decorate it? What else could you have?
I'm sure they made some cosmetic improvements, probably not noticeable to the average fan, but we may get an interview later in the season with...
I'll tell you, we might need to do the game over there.
I guarantee it's probably... if there's any breeze at all, you'll find it over there. Now the penalty against South and still will bring up 4th down, and the Wonders will be forced to punt. Blakeney standing at about his own 30-yard line. Gets a high snap, but gets it away. And here is Morris. Lets it go. It will not be returned. It will go down at the 26 of South with 51 seconds left. So South with a shot. Going to have to work the sidelines for sure.
Well, they will to use the clock right there. And I imagine we'll see Kannapolis back there folks off right here in some type of prevent.
I tell you, they were in all kinds of prevent defenses last year. I was watching the state championship came up there. I think the quarterbacks were coming so befuddled by halftime, he just didn't know what was going on. Giving him a guy, you know, it's like nobody gives me the pass, but they were, obviously it worked, right?
And worked pretty well.
Beaver gets away from a couple of green shirts and then will go out of bounds at the Raider 29-yard line. 20 seconds left before halftime. Actually, they're going to say the 28.
Yeah, I think that was one of our cameramen they took down there. I'll tell you what, we've got to work with him. He should have been a little quicker getting out of the way than that.
I believe that's Mark Caden. Mark's one of the younger guys. I think he's in the best shape to get out of the way.
Give him a few pointers on moving.
Second and 8 for the Raiders with 20 seconds left. Pitch to Wilkerson. Oh, he will go down as penetration was there, and the charge led by Billy Meisenheimer. He's a transfer from the Northwest Cabarrus program under Coach Dan Henderson. We will be at Northwest quite a few times this year.
We will, and I'll tell you what, they're glad to have that transfer right there.
As the first half has expired, it has been the Wonders' home faithful liking, that's for sure. Kannapolis will head to the locker room up by 3 touchdowns. We'll be back after this. 21-0 as we return here following the halftime performances by the band. And let's take a look at what was on paper other than that score in the first half. First for South Rowan and their stats. You see the rushing yardage. Most of that came on their initial drive of the game. And passing-wise, that was one pass completion, that 12 yards, Larry.
Well, it did, and I tell you, the penalties hurt them, and the turnover certainly hurt them. So those statistics may be a little misleading, but I'm sure they're not what they want either.
Meanwhile, we'll flip the chart and look at the Wonders, and you see the big, just the balance there between rushing and passing. That stands out.
Well, it does, and actually they're a little bit ahead in passing, and I guess with this offense that can be expected. No turnovers. The penalties, they weren't hurt by the penalties too badly, so I'm sure they were pleased with what's going on.
Well, in the first game of the season, Larry, I know you've had maybe halves like this, and when you were coaching that at Central, a team really does make 100%, 180-degree turnaround from one half to second half, but against a good Kannapolis team, can South Rowan do that?
Well, I'll tell you, this kickoff right here is going to be really important that they get down and they hold Kannapolis right here and play good defense right now and don't give them anything and set a tempo for this half. You know, they really did set a tempo in that first quarter. It looked like they were going to set the tempo, and then the wheels kind of fell off there, so to speak. And now they've gone in, made some repairs. We'll see how it works.
Well, the big holding penalty was nullified, a Raider touchdown, and the Winds let out of the sails, and then the Wonders got their hands on the football. The passing, scoring, set up the run, and vice versa, and just a good half of football. And I know Coach Harden is going to be pleased with his troops. Here's the kickoff, and it will be a deep, deep kickoff. Fumble momentarily, and Barry Lipscomb will pick it up at about the 2-yard line, and the Raiders will hem him in at about the 17. There was a loose football, and who's got it? South Rowan has recovered.
Well, I'll tell you, this will be a major break right here.
Number 26, you see him recovered it. Brian Connor, a corner on defense, ran it on in just in case. But
well, I tell you, I didn't see the football come loose. I don't know if you did or not, but they picked it up and took it on in. But they're going to need to come away from here, right here, with points. Could be just a real turning point. At least getting them back in the football game.
Well, in the first half, Beaver was 1 of 4, Blakeney 2 of 5 passing, and each team pretty much even as far as the number of plays, but it's what you do with them. As the Raiders had 25 plays, South really ran 2 more plays in Kannapolis.
Well, I tell you, South had to spend the timeout right there, or
well,
I think they're charging that with the Kannapolis, though.
Kannapolis had a little bit of disorganization there and didn't have their proper personnel on the field.
Well, I think both teams were caught off guard because both of them thought they were going to be going the other way, and neither one of them had their folks out.
Coming out of the Wonder lineup is Scott Belcher, the nose guard, and number 52, Hot Smith, and I did see 77 go in. Or excuse me, 71, Lenny Gray is coming to the lineup on defense. I think they maybe we're deciding whether we want to put our goal line defense in, or I'm not sure what Coach Lambert.
Well, I think you're probably right about that they were making some decisions on personnel right there.
Well, the Raiders can make it a ball game with a quick one here. They've got their best opportunity since about 3 minutes into the first period of this game, since their opening drive. 1st and 10. At the Wonder 15-yard line. Out of the guy with a slot on the left. for Beaver. They'll give it the tailback, Wilkerson, and he goes inside the 15 to about the 14, possibly the 13-yard line. Kyle Seckler, the leading back, blocking that time, number 33 for South.
Well, I tell you, I don't think he's going to do anything fancy right here, but I think everybody knows how important it is that he gets the football in the end zone right here.
First possession, really the tail of the tape in a lot of games right after halftime. Pickup of 2. Just inside the 14-yard line now. And they'll pitch it this time. Wilkerson being hemmed in. A lot of green shirts, but a great cutback. Gets him down near the 5, and there's a loose football, and Kannapolis, I think, has recovered the football. They have.
Well, I tell you what, that's a tough break right there because Wilkerson made a great cut on the football as Steve McKnight came up with it.
Possibly he made too good of a move, and a second and third effort didn't protect it, and a lot of green shirts around there. Well, we've had 2 big breaks here in the first minute and 15 seconds of the second half, and now the Wonders will come out on offense at their own 4-yard line. There you see the clock as it ticks down, so Blakeney now has got, a dozen seconds to get the play off. And they'll give this time. The Wonders just trying to get a little room, and room they do, out to the 10-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, Carter's a good one to give it to if you just need to give it to somebody and get some yardage out of that. And that was just the straight-ahead dive right there.
Well, you talk about 2 big key plays in this game for the Raiders. The one, the holding penalty in the first half, and now they coughed the football up as they were inside the 5-yard line and trying to get on the board and get back in the game. So those 2 may... How many more can the Raiders stand?
I don't know. Wilkerson feels badly over that because he made a great cut on it.
Second and 4 at the 10-yard line. Blakeney will give it this time. Carter into the secondary. He could take it away. It's a foot race. Raiders have 2 guys, and they finally collar him at the 38-yard line of South.
I tell you, when Carter made his second cut, he came open and just like you say then, it was who can run the 100 yards.
He was the biggest of all the folks. He had a little bit more to carry, too.
I'll tell you what, that was great. They tell you, got a good initial block up front there, and he was off to the races.
51-yard run from scrimmage for Fred Carter, and the Wonders are on the move again at the 39 this time of South. That's a backbreaker if you're a defensive guy.
Well, it really is, and Kannapolis showing us a little different set here in that split back.
Blakeney with a quick hands picks up the loose football and turns the corner and gets the first down out of bounds at the 28-yard line of South.
And there you have just athletic ability taking a busted play and getting the first down out of it.
And possibly maybe some magic in that visor that he's wearing tonight.
There may be.
Maybe he can see better, Peripheral vision improved vastly, I guess. They'll give his progress to the 27. There's the Raider defense. Number 30 for South. You saw in your picture of Lydell Dubin. And the Wonders on the move, leading 21-0. Have it 1st and 10. And Blakeney gets away from one man. Now it's a foot race. He's got the corner turn. 20, bumped out of bounds at the 19-yard line. All on his own.
Well, through the year last year, we didn't see him run the football that much, but he's proving right now if they need for him to, hey, that's no problem either.
And he played hurt a few games last.
Well, he did. It's a situation just when you think you've got things, pretty well contained, here they come with something else.
Second down and 2 for A.A. Brown. 3 minutes have passed here in the third quarter. 19-yard line, single setback, and it will go this time to Elder. He's down to about the 16.
They ran a little trap inside right there. It's back to the left side, and Elder followed the trap block up in there.
Lydell Doolin, the right side linebacker, junior, 203-pounder, number 30 initially on the stop for South. And they'll move to 6, 1st and 10. Well, one more score here, and it's going to be real tough.
such a big turnaround too, because South had the ball down with the opportunity to score, and then to turn around, and if this one is put in, this one may nail it shut.
Blakeney with one setback. That's Carter, who was checked back in. Blakeney over the middle. Well, take it back. I think he was counting the points, and Mark Carter, number 35, the tight end, just couldn't put it away.
Well, I tell you, he came wide open on that little dump pass over the middle right there. A little sticking on the hands, and that might have been 6 right there.
He's going back thinking, gosh, I need to get some of that.
Oh, he'll think about that. He'll dream about that one tonight.
They may come right back with the same play. Second down and 10, 16-yard line. Single setback once again for the Wonders. And it will be Michael Barnes breaking a tackle. 10-5 penalty marker goes down. Barnes on the ground at the 3.
Made a good cut. And then I tell you what, after he does, he's a tough runner. He'll finish his runs off really well there.
I believe the penalty clipping against Kannapolis, so that'll joust him back temporarily. There you see the brain trust on the south side.
Coach Harper there.
Had a chance to eat a hot dog with him over the summer. He's discovered one of the better eating places in
well, I shouldn't say. It looks like he may have been there a couple times.
He's hooked, I would tell you. He's hooked on it.
Well, is it a secret?
Please, sandwich shop. That's what it is. As they say, we're the elite meat to eat. George Webb is the owner. We won't give you a bill on that commercial there.
You ought to get a free sandwich out of that.
Yeah, well, might be. Second down, 21 yards. And Blakeney will go across the far side. That one is going to be incomplete. A great effort by number 83 for the Wonders, Marlo Hall, who's caught a touchdown pass earlier and darn near pulled that one.
Well, he did, and that was a little timing pattern, too, that Blakeney waited till he made his cut outside and put it up. I think he had the ball about 3 times and dropped it about 3 times.
Hall is a 5'10 junior, and I guarantee you what we've seen so far, a couple of passes, 1 touchdown, and then that near catch, nothing but improvement. I'm impressed with him. He's going to be a weapon to be reckoned with.
Well, he really is. I tell you what, they're a young football team, but I think the people that Coach Harding has in right now are taking up the slack really well.
Third down, 21, Blakeney. Quick pop this time over the middle, almost intercepted at about the 5-yard line. Coming around was Todd Bell, number 9. He's the free safety and almost got that one.
Well, I tell you, Blakeney was throwing it in amongst a lot of people right there.
I tell you, you just don't know who to cover. You've got a wild scramble of receivers going out. It just gives the secondary fits on the defense.
Well, it does, and he had to almost throw the perfect pass right there to get it in.
Well, it's 4th down. Ball at the 27 of South Rowan. 21 yards go for the first down. Let's see. Johnson is not on, so Wonders say, well, we're a little bit out of Johnson's field goal range. What do we got to lose? Blakeney getting some backside pressure, eludes 1 man. Plenty of time to throw now. Eludes his second tackler. Will crank her up. He's got a man wide open. Touchdown. The 5'10 senior, wide open. Those who wait, good things happen, maybe.
Well, I tell you, we're going to try to see this again right here, Randy, but Blakeney made the play happen for the most part by himself.
Just count the number of seconds he had to throw. That's the key to that completion, and his receivers never gave up.
Okay, I don't think we got that one to see again, but, 10 plays and 96 yards then, I tell you that's a backbreaker.
Out of the hold of Blakeney, Johnson kicks it true. He is 4 for 4 extra points, and the Wonders have extended their lead to 28-0 with 7:23 left, third quarter.
I'll tell you, Randy, as we come back here for this kickoff, South has the ball down on the 5-yard line, and Kannapolis takes it 96 yards to score right here. That's got to take the wind out of your sails. Blakeney he eluded about 5 people there, and then until he found somebody open in the end zone, decided, well, he'd just throw it to him now.
I think he had at least 10 seconds to throw it. Now, you talk about that kind of coverage, give credit to the receivers. They knew what to do. When he started scrambling, they got open.
They sure did.
Here's the kick this time. Raiders will get decent field position out to about the 30-31-yard line that time, as it was McKnight on the coverage.
Are you surprised at this score?
A little bit, yeah. I think there's about 8,000 or 9,000 people that are surprised here. The Wonders are pleasantly surprised. The Raiders, they're not that bad a ball team.
No, I think they've improved over last year from what we saw them last year. They came out, and really were clicking there at the first, and just now, they've gotten behind by the big play.
Andrew Beaver, the junior quarterback, has learned a lot tonight, to say the least. Back to pass this time, a little flare out in the open, complete, 35, 40, 38-yard line is when they're going to run him out of bounds. The reception made by Ryan Russell will split in. He's a senior. So South going to have to go to the air a little bit more now to try to get back in the game.
Well, I feel like they will, and we'll see what Larry Deal has decided to use. He talked about putting in an intermediate passing game this year. Of course, that was a little less than an intermediate pass right there.
Well, the thing about it is you're behind 28-0. It kind of nullifies Wilkerson's talents at tailback.
Well, it really does, and he's a fine young back.
And we'll be heard from, and we'll have a good year this year. Here's the fullback fighting for maybe a yard that time. That is Boss. On the stop that time for Kannapolis, Steve McKnight, who's played a good game in any position he's been in tonight.
Well, he has. And I tell you, I think what this has probably done to South, too, and what it does to you to get behind like this, it takes you out of some of the things that you would want to continue to do and forces you to do some of the things that probably you weren't wanting to do.
Third down and 1 yard to go here at the 39-yard line as we're inside 6 minutes to go, third period. Out of the eye with a slot on the right, one wide to the top, and the Raiders keep it on the ground. It's going to be close, depending on the spot.
Well, I tell you, it doesn't look like that they made it right there. We'll have to, like you say, wait and see. I think you made a good point early in the game that the best defense is to keep it out of Kannapolis' hands. That's probably going to be anybody that plays them this year.
Yep. Well, in the state championship game last year, Cummings controlled the ball quite a bit in the first half, but didn't get it in the end zone, and consequently, only a 3-0 game at halftime.
Right, and they did get the first down right there. They got a good spot on the football right there.
So the Raiders will keep the drive going at their own 41-yard line. And the pitch goes to Wilkerson. He'll cut to the outside, breaks one tackle, maybe 2 yards that time before he's knocked out of bounds. It has been definitely a team effort on defense tonight for the Wonders. Fred Carter, we haven't mentioned him much, but he's been around the ball a lot, not only running it, but on defense as well from the linebacking slot. There he is. And Mark Carter, number 35, is opposite. Check it was not Wilkinson who was in the lineup. It was number 22. It was, Brian Connor who was on that last one. Apologies to that. Raiders just grinding it out a little bit. As you see, number 33 getting off the ground. That is Kyle Seckler. He is the starting fullback. He will go out. Now the Raiders faced with 3rd and long, and the Wonder defense can maybe guess a little bit here.
Well, you figure the South's going to come out and throw the football right here.
A little bit more gambling when you're up 28-0, I guess, on defense as well as offense. Here's Beaver over the middle. Good pass, completion. Raiders with a first down, and it's been quite some time since they've been into Wonder territory. And a nice reception by number 96. That is your tight end, Jerry Jones, the 200-pound senior.
I'll tell you, he gives him a good target right there, and Beaver threw a good ball in there on the dump pass right there, a little play action, and throw it to the tight end. Right now they may be wondering why hadn't we done that before now.
Well, you catch a secondary nap, and that one could break all the way. 43-yard line of A.O. Brown with 3.5 to go, third period. Raiders trying to mount another drive here. And tied up in the backfield is Connor, and a good defensive stack that time as you had McKnight over there, along with Tony Jones, who's just been steady tonight on defense at the tackle position.
Well, I tell you, that play never got off the ground. It was stopped, right dead in the backfield. And Kannapolis defense seems like, what tentativeness they may have had in the beginning of the game is gone, and they're coming on right now.
49-yard line of South, a loss of 8, 2nd and 18. Well, a little mix up, and Beaver may make the most of it. He'll cut it to the short side, and a lot of green shirts over there. Run him out of bounds at the Wonders 48, 49-yard line. And when you run on the opposing side's field, it's kind of like in baseball when you go in the dugout. Nobody stops you.
No help here. But I tell you, he did a good job of just making anything out of that play.
Just inside the Wonder 49, so another huge task here for the Raider offense. 3rd and 15. Andrew Beaver, the junior quarterback, number 11, will send Morris, the flanker, in motion. And there's what we're talking about. Pin the years back, and here we come. Number 74 for the Wonders is Richard Greer. And number 43 is Billy Meisenheimer.
Well, I tell you, Meisenheimer and Greer both just, they came in and just like they knew the play right there.
It will force South to punt yet again. 2:15 to go in the 3rd period. And the beat back this time for Brown will be Barry Lipscomb, number 23, back at about his own 25-yard line. Low snap, but fielded, and a short kick off the side of the foot, and will roll out of bounds at the Kannapolis 38 or 39-yard line. Well, Larry, it's kind of nice getting back in the booth. The last time we did a game together was 60 degrees cooler, wasn't it?
I tell you what, it was chilly.
We were outside. Why is it always when it gets cold we're outside, when it's hot we're inside?
I don't know. I think it's rigged against us.
Well, we try to keep it that way.
I'll tell you, we were in Shelby and it was cold.
Well, it could have been worse. The wind wasn't blowing that night, was it? Excellent catch there. Here comes our refreshment band. Michael Barnes punishing the running back, the junior, out across the 45 to the 48-yard line. And we've got a Wonders got shaken up back at the original line of scrimmage, and I think that's our first cramps. We were kind of betting when they would start coming into play, and a little bit early in this game. I was thinking about a 10-minute mark in the game, but we got 1:39 here in the 3rd quarter. So,
well, I think you were calling that shot pretty close, though.
1:39 to go, as we said, 3rd quarter. Wonders are on their way. Junior center was the man with cramps, and we're glad to say that he came off the field under his own power. He'll be back, maybe next play or two. 1:27, the clock now starts to run. 3rd period, Blakeney coming back from center, bobbled it momentarily, but even on not what you call slick execution, turns it into about a 3-yard gain.
Gets first down out of it. New center in there, and you can expect every now and then when you switch centers, there's a little mis-exchange there.
That's the thing I think Coach Harden was quoted as saying that you've got to have a perfect snap to start everything in motion, and that center is definitely the unsung hero out there. He's talking about you want to be in on every play. He touches at every play. Tailback Barnes breaks into the secondary, and they will score. Power football. Michael Barnes, the 5'11", 194-pound junior, got through the initial wave and just, boy, them long legs carried him in a hurry to the end zone.
It was just, isolation right there, just a hard dive, and once he got into where the linebackers were, he was gone.
34-0 with 42 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And Johnson, who has been perfect on the extra points.
4 plays then, Randy, 61 yards for another TD.
The Wonders are playing like it's mid-season here as Johnson boots it through, and it is perfect again. There is a timeout. 35-0. The Wonders are going to go 1-0. We've still got over a quarter of football to go on this one.
You know, I'm sure that Coach Deal said, hey, I thought they were supposed to lose all those guys last year. Where did this team come from?
Back with the Kannapolis kickoff in just a minute.
I'm back with this kickoff right here. You know, I'm sure South never felt like they'd be in this situation right now. And it's a tough one. And I'm sure that maybe Coach Harding didn't feel like he'd be playing this well either.
Now the thing now that Coach Harding's got to guard against this next week's game against Statesville, certainly a worthy opponent, and you don't want to say, hey, it's going to be like this the whole season. I'm sure he'll remind his forces of that as the kick team does their job once again for Kannapolis as they down Morris at about the 25-yard line. So South, let's see what they can come up with now. Certainly, they're not going to give up. A Larry Deal team, they're going to play it out, and you learn something even in defeat, and they've learned a lot tonight.
Well, that's what non-conference games are to learn, even though you want to play, play the best you can and hopefully come away with wins.
Now, South's got another pretty good opponent next week as they'll be at home. Their home opener. They'll take on West Rowan, and the Falcons could be a surprise in the SBC this year.
Well, I think everybody's kind of, it's a wait-and-see attitude with them. I think all the coaches seem to feel like West is going to be a pretty tough football team.
We were talking a couple weeks ago, and I think you summed it up. The SBC this year doesn't have, Blakeney is the, he gets all the publicity and media hype, but last year we had the Means and the Mortons and the Hitchcocks and the Bullocks and Northwest and all those folks. Not a lot of what they call superstars this year, but it's just, I don't think we've lost anything in the grade of football that we're seeing.
No, I tell you what, it looks to be that it has come back and being played on the same level we saw it anyway.
Well, we've got 12 more minutes of this one to go as the third quarter has expired. Wonders in command by 35.
South comes back up to the line of scrimmage here, hoping to get something going here.
On their own 33-yard line as they swap ends. Beaver hands off to the fullback, and Kannapolis is playing like they're 35 down on defense. I tell you, they had just moved some folks.
Well, they have, and I tell you, I think there's some new faces and new numbers in there on defense also. Probably both coaches getting a chance to look at some new faces right now.
Two good programs going at one another, although unfortunately a lot of folks will hear about it, read about it, see it. All they worry about is the score, but there's a lot of good football tapped out on that field right now for both sides. Yet to be developed, that's for sure. A gain of a yard that time as they keep it on the ground. We see number 73 for South Rowan. And I do not have a number on him. But I do know I have a number on Scott Jordan, who carried the football. Scott normally a flanker or split in. So he's getting a chance to run the football.
Well, I'll tell you, Larry Deal, right now is probably going to look at some things, and Coach Harding also look at some folks.
John Boston's checked back in at the fullback position for the Raiders. We're going to have offsides as number 16 for the Raiders, Deion Higgins, the 6-foot senior, was a wideout that time, and he went on the count of 2, and they were waiting on 3. Or were they? I think they're going to say it was against Kannapolis. They initiated the movement, so that'll cost them 5. So Higgins got a break because he did jump offside.
Well, he did. Maybe he wasn't the first one.
That's right. 1st and 5 for the Raiders at their own 40-yard line. Beaver stands up, slant, overthrown, and now we're going to get a penalty, late flag, and that's going to go against the Wonder defense, I believe. Maybe a little unnecessary taunting there, as there was pretty good pop laid on Todd Bell, the receiver.
Right, I think they did called unsportsmanlike conduct right there. The hit was okay. It was the, like you said, the taunting. It was the telling him don't come back in here again area.
A little bit too much zest on that one. Well, Henry will move it into Wonder territory at the 45-yard line. 10.5 minutes to go in this one. Wonders will win 35-0. They're up right now. They were ahead 21-0 at halftime. That's Wonders are saying that we didn't do it this time.
South did. I think that was pretty clear. I believe South jumped that time.
Now the frustration is starting to come out.
Well, you've got some new faces also out there.
Now South will be back. I can guarantee you that. Kannapolis is playing like they never left.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of pride in the South program, and you know that they're going to come back, they're going to learn from this and work hard this week to get ready for next week.
And Wilkerson will take the toss on the left side for about 3. The 47 of Kannapolis. As the unstick. The guy has gone both ways. Number 28 for the Wonders, Billy Elder. Caught a crucial pass in the first half and is playing good defense. So, Coach Harden and his staff playing a lot of guys both ways. Second down. And the 47. And nothing there. That one just didn't look good from the snap, did it?
No, and they were going to run the delay right there, and before they could get the delay off, the tackle was already made.
Terry Ryan not really a chance to showcase any of his ability. And the running back position and back now into Raider territory, their own 48-yard line. 3rd and 17 facing South. High formation, Beaver. Andrew sets him down for 2 wide. Dump pass over the middle and a great set of hands by Billy Elder with the interception. He'll return it to the South 38-yard line. I think he had the right amount of stickum on that one.
Well, he did. I tell you what, it hit and it stuck right there. Great interception. I tell you, he's given them a lot of playing time on both sides of the football.
Elder, the 6-foot, 174-pound senior. And the offense of A.L. Brown back in business, leading 35-0. They have it 1st and 10 at the Raider 38-yard line. We've still got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in this one. And they hold up right now at the line of scrimmage and timeout.
Kannapolis took a time. Blakely didn't like something that he saw.
So we'll take a break. No, we're going to keep it right here. And remind you, next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, Headliners will be on as our TV13 Game of the Week steps into the Rocky River Conference. As we'll have Mount Pleasant. Henry Thompson will be in our studio for sure. We're going to try to get Coach from South Stanley. South Stanley always year in, year out competitive. That's a pretty good ball game.
Well, it sure will be.
Down at Mount Pleasant, they always treat us hospitable. While we've got a moment, we want to thank the folks here at A.L. Brown for our first visit back in 1990.
They made a lot of nice improvements here. They really have got a first-class facility here in the state.
And thanks to Bruce Hart, his coaching staff, and the concessionaires once again.
But you got to cut your diet back a little bit this year, big guy. So you eating a little more healthy.
The big game,
no more 4 hot dog nights for you.
Well, they were small hot dogs. What can I say? Michael Barnes just busted up the middle of the 25-yard line. I tell you, the Wonders weep no more, folks.
I tell you, Michael just says, give me the football. I enjoy carrying it. He's tough.
Carter and Barnes, boy, you know, it's true. You heard Coach Harden talking about it. He says, we had 5 extra weeks to practice with some of these underclassmen because, you know, the playoffs,
Well, you did, but, you know, we saw Barnes playing for him some in the playoffs, and he gave him a couple of really good games then.
Now he's having a shoe problem. He'll kind of delay things. Now they got it ready. He literally run out of his shoe that last time, so he's got it tied. He's back to the line. He's the setback in the backfield for the Wonders. He and Carter are going to be a dynamite 1-2 punch if things continue the rest of the season like we've seen tonight. Here's Barnes again. just a big back to bring down. 5'11", 194 pounds, and he'll shoot it down to about the 19-yard line.
Well, you know, I think that they knew how Blakeney was going to play. They had to put some new folks around him. They had some new, other than Carter, you know, they've got some new split ends, and now I think the bright spot's got to be that Barnes can come in and run the football the way he does.
And we haven't mentioned much about that new offensive line. That was a big question mark. And Stafford and Gray and Clowney and Clark and Jones. They look good tonight.
Well, they really do. You know, last year they came back with a season line. Coach Brown coaches a line, and they came back with a senior group. And this year rebuilding there.
Billy Meisenheimer touches the football for the first time. There you see number 43. And he'll go to the 17-yard line as we're nearing the 7-minute mark of this one.
I think he just took Blakeney out, Randy, and he's got a new quarterback in there.
It is Robert Combs, number 14. He's 5'8", 147 pounds, and a junior. So Robert getting some early season action. A lot of experience here in the non-conference game. They'll go that time. Go about the 14-yard line as Meisenheimer carries. So Coach Harden is starting to substitute more and more, and everybody's going to get in the act before this one's over with. Really on both sides.
Well, I think so. Give them all a chance to get in it and give them a little playing time this time of the year.
Eric, your coach Dio over there, 35-0 is a lot easier to forget than 17-16, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't know that it feels any better, but it's easier to forget.
Bruises don't hurt, and sore spots not quite as bad on Saturday. Well, a great second effort to stay on his feet is Robert Combs, and he did a good job just to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, he did. And I don't know if that play was just a broken play and he kept the ball himself, but did make a little something out of it. Actually gained a foot, maybe.
They'll spot it just inside the 15-yard line. Second down. With 5:52 left in this one. Well, we'll see South a couple of more times this year on our TV 13 schedule. We'll see them take on Northwestern Bears. That's always a good ball game. And then one of the favorites, Herbert Greensburg Dudley, will come to South Rowan. We'll see them play that team up in China Grove later in the season.
Right.
So,
and I think we'll see a different South Rowan team in both those games also.
South has traditionally had problems in the first game. And then, you know, how many years have you seen a Larry Deal coach team go 10-2 after losing the first game?
Right. And I'm sure even in all as well as they played, that Coach Harden's going to be able to come back and find some places that they're going to need to improve.
Oh, yeah. Ball the 9-yard line. Combs will hand it off this time around the right side. Touchdown. Steve McKnight scoring. 6 foot, 184-pound junior takes it in, and it is 41-0.
He just kept breaking the ball to the outside and finally got to the corner of the end zone over there.
I'm not sure, going back to the records as we watch the touchdown run again. Just some good blocking right there.
There was, and then he just, you know, took it in. Most of the run there at the end was all on his own.
Well, things are clicking. Let's see if Johnson can add to it, as he has been perfect in the extra point department. And that string remains unbroken. It is now 42-0 with 4:51 to go in the ball game. 6 plays, 52 yards. Back with the wonder kickoff in just a minute. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Few folks have started to file away, but the Wonder fans on the sidelines are enjoying this one. Their season opening victory here in 1990. As the kickoff, Wilkerson will finally get on it, and he slips down at about the 8-yard line. The Jets having problems. Watch him. The wheels come off. One comes off, all of them comes off, doesn't it?
Well, the cart starts running rough, and then the parts start coming off.
I think we got some lifter problems for sure in that internal engine.
Now, I think what we're going to see here, Randy, is about 22 new faces, and they're going to play it out here.
With some of the folks leaving, you're not going to have quite as long a trip down to the sidelines tonight as you normally would in a crowd like this. Concord here at Memorial Stadium, the last game of the regular season, and that's another pretty good-sized crowd that shows up. He's talking about new faces. 26 is in. That is Brian Connor, running back that time for the Raiders, out to about the 10-yard line. Let's give him 2 on the carry. 2nd and 8.
You know, if you're Coach Deal, what can you say? Let's get this over with, load the bus up, and get home and back to the drawing board, so to speak.
Back. Wilkerson to about the 12. Stopped on the play by number 70 for Kannapolis, Harry Stafford. Mr. Steady there at defensive tackle. He's a small boy, 5'11", 230 pounds, and his senior leadership certainly going to be a big part in the Wonders' plans here for 1990. As a matter of fact, they started 7 seniors, 4 juniors on offense, and on the defensive side for Kannapolis, 7 seniors are out there, 1 sophomore.
Now that play started out, it looked like it might gain some ground right there, Randy, and then when it shut down quickly.
Stafford once again, one of the principal villains in that play. And it's 4th down. Kannapolis offense will get the ball back with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in this one. Clock continuing to run. It's kind of neat now with these clocks over here. You know exactly when the official starts that clock and whistles that ball in play.
Well, it does. I'll tell you what, that's nice.
Takes the mystery out of it, doesn't it? This one will not be returned. It may have hit one of the Wonder returners. He's going to fall on it, just in case, and he darn near didn't get it all. But going back to make sure, it's Barry Lipscomb for the Wonders and Stanley Haley there just in case. 42-0 is that's where the picnic area is, as Larry was pointing out earlier tonight.
All right, I'll tell you what, they line on the bank here.
Yes, it is. There's still a lot of folks on that bank. You can put a lot more people maybe on the bank here at Kannapolis than some of the 2A schools holding the entire stadium.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, people enjoy sitting on the bank there.
Inside the 2-minute mark, clock continuing the run, and the Wonders just content probably to run it out here. Well, a lot of new faces on that offense. South, a lot of new faces on defense. It's maybe improve on some more things for the Wonders. Can't practice this week. For the Raiders, it's definitely time to regroup, and Coach Deal, I'm sure his coaching staff will get the confidence back up by next Friday night to take on West Rowan. And that probably won't be a hard chore, because that's one of their other Rowan County rivals.
Yeah, I think you'll see these youngsters. One thing about youngsters is they'll bounce back.
Meanwhile, our 3rd quarterback of the night for the Wonders is Fred Gibson, who started and split in. So Fred's getting a little shot at the QB position. And now he will go out, and back in will be Robert Combs as we had a legal procedure. That's going to be declined as the Raiders defense will take the loss instead. 44-yard line. Combs with a single setback. As we tick down here, 1 minute to go on this one. And we'll hand off. There's a big opening, a fumble, and the scramble's on. I don't want it, you take it. Who's got it? South Rowan has recovered at their own 39-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, the ball came loose in there, and it looked like it was going to be tapped on down the field.
Number 36 for the Raiders, Tim Moon, comes up with a loose pigskin. And South with 54 seconds try to avert the shutout. I'm sure that's on their minds.
Get a little moral victory here if they could put one on the board right now.
I believe we will have a new quarterback checking in. Brian Parks, he's 5'8", 145 pounds. Only a sophomore will say, I played in that game. One of his grandkids one day.
Remember when?
Yep. take a snap with a sophomore. He's the Raider quarterback of the future, and he is brought down from behind. And now some tempers are starting to flare, but there's the frustration coming out, as that may probably very well be the last play of the game here. As we check down with 10 seconds left in this one, and South Rowan will regroup. The Wonders will celebrate and try to improve as they will win the 1990 meeting between these two arch rivals, 42-0. The final score tonight. The Wonders, Vail Brown. Kind of look like they're intent on defending that state championship.
Well, they really do. I tell you what, they played with a lot of intensity and a lot of desire.
And it was a team effort, not an aerial show with something like running, passing, the offensive line. A lot of questions were answered there, and the Wonder fans a lot to celebrate tonight as they'll get ready for Statesville next week. Back to talk with some of the principal components in this win and look at some final stats when we return to Memorial Stadium after this. Larry Mason is fieldside as we're back here at Memorial Stadium. He's with winning head coach Bruce Harding.
Larry Mason along with Coach Bruce Harding. Coach Harding, you and I talked a little bit before we came on there here. Said this was a little bit unexpected.
I think so. I thought we were suspect in a lot of places tonight, but I tell you what, once we got in the groove and got our confidence up, our players really were aggressive and they played hard. I thought the defense really set a tempo when they stopped them on that first goal line stand, and they'd gone to trips and trading their tight end. It put us in a bind, and once we adjusted, and we made a couple of big first downs, and I just tell you, our offensive line play tonight was great, and our backs ran hard.
Well, I know there were some questions answered tonight that you probably had, you know, coming into this first regular season game that maybe you didn't get answered in your scrimmages. Anything that stands out in your mind?
Well, you know, we broke down in places and we made the typical first game mistakes, but Maurice really scrambled and kept the pressure on and made big plays when he was in trouble. And the thing we'd worked on is our offensive linemen not being intimidated by stunts since they were new, and they picked up things South did, and I thought they did a terrific job.
Well, I thought that your team, you know, the jitters at the first of the game, and then as the game went on, it seemed to be that they were coming together even a little bit more. Putting this one behind you, you've got another big one next week in Statesville. I'm sure you're not going to let your youngsters live off of this one.
Well, I tell you, that's going into a den next week, because I know those just the comments I've heard in the offseason, they're ready to play us, and Coach Fry is a good football team, so we've got to really concentrate on fundamentals again and try to get better and continue to play good defense.
Well, listen, thanks for letting us come and see you. We'll be seeing you later in the season.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Randy, back to you and Ron with the final stats, and we'll see you folks next week.
All right, thanks, Larry. Talk about WrestleMania 2 coming up next week at Statesville. They're going to have their hands full, Ron, as we take a look at those final stats. South Ryan just really nothing, couldn't get anything going, as Coach Harding said in the second half, and once you get behind, it takes Wilkerson, they're one of the prime running back weapons, out of the game, and the turnovers really hurt them, didn't they?
Turnovers really broke them down. I was really impressed with their penalties. Only one penalty in the second half. They had 4 for 30 yards at the end of the first half. They came together in their penalties in the second half. Looked a lot better.
On the A.L. Brown side of things,
we checked to see if we could get 4 digits in there. We can.
That's impressive. For a team that passes the ball a lot, look at their rushing stats and the total yards. I'm sure the coaching staff take that every game. And 3 of 9 passing, only 2 turnovers, and they really were one early in the second half. That could have turned the game around, but I tell you, the Brown defense came up and took it right back, and that really was your ball game. Penalty yards, maybe the only thing they need to cut down on that.
Well, that's a typical first game run for penalties, so I think things will come together for them.
One of the final stat of note, the leading rusher in tonight's ball game, Michael Barnes, the junior. He had 114 yards, Carter with 33, and Elder, surprisingly, was 67, and leading things was Wilkerson. He had 64 yards, and our thanks once again to Ron Moon. Ron, I hope we see you next week, but buddy, wherever you're going to be in the Army Reserve,
send me a headset to Saudi Arabia and we'll do the game from there.
We may take a road trip for sure. 42-0, the final score. Wonders opening up the 90 season with a bang. Join us Wednesday night with headliners 8 o'clock in our studios. For sure will be Henry Thompson of Mount Pleasant as the Tigers take on South Stanley. So long from Memorial Stadium.